we're gonna get started here today, or we're gonna get started here right now. And I'm gonna do my absolute best to stick to the hour. I promise you, I'm gonna try to respect everybody's time. And I also have a meeting right after this too, as well, which I did purposely, so I didn't keep you guys here for 3 days. And so just a little intro on myself for you guys that don't know me. I'm the founder, the CEO, and the owner of JFF, which is Journey to Financial Freedom. And we have had the absolute privilege over the past couple of years to work with some incredible people, some incredible clients, and have built an amazing culture and community. And we simply found that very smart people, like everybody on here, just wasn't taught how to manage their money correctly, right? And so we love to provide that solution, because when we do, we find that very smart people like you guys are able to get great results when you learn it from the right person with the right intention, with the right methods and strategies. And so a big reason why we're here today is because over the years, we have found that for the most part, our best clients were coaches and online consultants, had some type of entrepreneur background, growth minded, but we've also realized in the process of working with those people that the number one reason holding them back from scaling, having the largest impact they could possibly have, the largest impact they could possibly have, right, and being able to spread their message and their values was just simply money. Right? It was just simply money, right? Sometimes it does come down to sales and marketing and fulfillment and offers, and you're going to see all of those things are strongly dictated, if not rated and controlled by money.
Recording in progress.
All right, if everyone can, there we go. Throw on mute here. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen, right, and we'll go from there. So how today is going to go, right, we're going to go over this lesson plan here, right, but really I'm going to kind of break it down into 3 sections, right? If you guys know me, you know that I love to align expectations and objectives, which we'll do here today to get everybody on the same page. It's very hard to get people best results when you're not on the same page, and there's some gray areas, some things aren't clear, right? And so I want to get us all on the same page, all of us supporting one another and kind of understanding what we're doing here today. Right, then from there, I'm going to set the tone, with some quotes and some teachings and some philosophies that we have, right? So you can really kind of start to dig into why we're here and lay that baseline knowledge of information, energy, and culture to really set you up for success for the last part of today's lesson, which we're going to actually perform a case study. And we're going to use ourselves at JFF as a company and myself personally as a case study to show you simply a lot more than 20K a month. Right, we'll explain here why we use that number here in a second. But at JFF, we're very proud of this. And our second full year in business, we were able to scale to $1.2 million in revenue, having a team of 10 and hundreds of clients around the world. And we did it. We made plenty of mistakes along the way. Don't get me wrong, but we did it the right way, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with making mistakes and learning from them. But we did it on our growth and our success is laid on a rock solid foundation. Right, so it's never going to go anywhere. If anything, continue to scale and grow and make the best client experience and impact on this world that we could possibly have. Right, so my only insecurity about that is I got to talk about myself and our successes a decent amount here today. And I promise you, it is all out of love. It is also I can be able to best teach you guys and show you an example, right, and be able to show you the possibilities and how we made it a reality and how you can too as well. So to ease my anxieties early on about having to basically talk about myself today and the company a decent amount to use as that case study to best teach you, do I have permission here to be, bold and transparent? If I do, just drop the word safe in the comments. And I promise you, if I have that permission, you guys will get best results. Awesome. I appreciate this. I was prepping this morning and the past couple of days, and I'm like, I just want to be able to be transparent and be vulnerable with you guys to ultimately get this message across and show you not only what's possible for you guys, but how we made it a reality and how you can too. All right. And so today's message is called the Online Coach's 20K a month blueprint, right? How to hit 20K months consistently by creating financial stability in your business. Right, like this isn't a business guru that you're hopping on with. It's going to talk about getting in people's DMs and sending marketing messages and sales tactics. While all those things are very helpful, but like I said in the beginning of this, those strategies don't work, especially to the best of their ability, if you simply just don't have your money in order, right? Which we're going to be able to show you here today. All right, and so we're going to move on here. So aligning expectations and objectives. right? The only outcome I care about from this call is to massively impact everyone on here and help unlock a world of possibilities for you and your business, right? You know, the ego wants to, especially mine, wants to go to the numeric values of what's going on, how many people registered, how many people signed up, how many people commented in the chat, right? And so I've had to coach myself over the past couple of weeks when we've announced this to like not give a shit about that. I've prepared today as if you guys paid 100K for this slot, and as if hopefully you'll never need to see me ever again unless you choose to, right? Based off the impact and the information that we're going to give you here today. Right. The second thing is most people on this call probably have some type of unnecessary stress and anxiety around money and business that is keeping them from living their best life and also causing friction and arguments and maybe even illness. And I hope to alleviate a majority of those here today. You know, one example I love to use was about a year or so ago. This has always stuck with me. And I try to use everybody's time as wisely as I can because of this. About a year or so ago, I took a call with a woman, just a free consultation, and her husband actually ended up being on the call too as well. And they thought, and rightfully so, it was as normal as the wind blowing, that they were having these money problems that were going to like ruin their life and their marriage and their kids and all these types of things. And within an hour call, we were able to alleviate a lot of that to the point where they messaged me afterwards and said, Justin, we were thinking about getting a divorce before hopping on that call. That is no longer an option for us because what we accomplished in the hour with you. And I'm not saying that from a self-righteous standpoint. I'm saying that because I know a lot of you are carrying something here on this call, which I pray to God, he uses me as a valve here to alleviate you of that. All right. Second here is I'm this person too as well right here. So if you're that person that is going to sit here, you're most likely going to hear something that you already know. Right. And I'm that person too as well. Like I'll hop on, business masterminds, and I'll immediately exclude myself all out of arrogance because I already know something they're talking about. It's like, that's not the point, Warren Buffett. Like the point is much greater than some of the things that they're talking about, right? And so my point here is if you know something already that I'm talking about, great, that's the expectation, right? But don't let it exclude you from hearing things that you actually need to hear and implement just because you know a little bit of the things that we're talking about here today. Right. And then also too, if you're someone that feels like some of this is over your head, again, it's just as normal as the wind blow, right? It's expected, but don't get down on yourself and exclude yourself because I promise you a lot of these things are a lot easier than the finance world makes it seem. And I promise you that you're a lot closer to accomplishing these things than your subjective monkey brain is letting us think, right? And last couple things here, right? Finding your pace and eliminating comparison and self-inflicted wounds. So again, today, I'm going to be talking about our company and myself a decent amount, and the pace that we achieved success in was very fast. And so I don't want you to have comparison here, right? Even if you've been in business for longer than us and you're not where we're at, like we don't care about that. We don't want you to care about that. We want you to look at this from a lens. How can you figure out what your pace is, right? Because everybody has unique variables. It's something that we teach in finances a ton. Unique variables are what make us different, like our age, where we live, what we do for a living, how many kids we have, how much money do we make, what are our stresses, just to give you an example. And those things need to be weighed and then taken into consideration to customize and personalize a pace for you, right? So because of my unique variables, my pace may be different than the next person, right? And the last thing too as well is not falsely labeling your pace as your pace because there's self-inflicted wounds included. And so what I mean by that is like, you may be at a slower pace right now that's actually not your pace because there's a bunch of self-inflicted wounds thrown in there that we're going to try to help you work through here today. Right. And the last two things here, right? Number 6, everybody got a pen? If you got a pen, show me it real quick. Show me your pen real quick. You got a pen? All right. Take a piece of paper and number it 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is going to be able to help you grade if you had a successful hour here and not today, right? If worst case scenario, I want you to leave with 3 golden nuggets, right? You're like, wow, that really hit. That was a great point. He must be talking to me with that one, right? And so get that paper out and you can grade whether you had a successful hour here or not based off those 3 golden nuggets that you leave with. And when you do write them down, do me a favor and drop the golden nugget in the chat so we can know that one of them stuck out to you. And last thing here, right? If you follow our teachings, I promise you, it will ultimately lead you to working the least you have ever worked, making the most you have ever made, all while having the largest impact you've ever had on society and your ideal clients. That's the outcome, though. That's the transformation. There's a long way depending on who you are, between where you're at now and having that transformation. And we're going to teach you that pathway here today. All right. So who's excited? If you're already getting value and excited that you came, drop the word value in the comments for me, and I'm going to get into it here. Awesome. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A little sip of the energy juice here, and we're going to move into it. All right, cool. Okay. So I'm going to hit you guys with some quotes and some prompts and some philosophies that we have to help you lay a baseline level of information to understand why we're really here today, right? And so one of my favorite quotes is, most people do not have business problems. They have personal problems leaking into the business, disguising themselves as business problems, right? And most times these personal problems are financial ones, in which the majority of these financial problems are avoidable and self-inflicted, right? So let that sink in. That's why we harp on finances so much. Like, I could really care less about the budget or the strategies and the money in itself. What I care about are the opportunities and results it provides for you and your family, right? And so most times people don't have business problems. They have personal problems leaking into the business. And most times those personal problems are financial ones that are self-inflicted and avoided, right? And so coaching, consulting, and entrepreneurship already comes with a whole bunch of inevitable stress, anxiety, and obstacles. But there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that you can't predict is going to happen. That is going to have to happen. Pain, stresses, and anxieties. Why in the world would you add to it unnecessarily by not having your finances in order? Like we always say, the business world has so much necessary volatility. Why add to that and make it even worse with unnecessary volatility by not having your money in it? That makes sense, right? All right. So simply put, our suboptimal relationship and systems with money holds our business back from producing best results for our clients, our current and future employees, and ourselves as owners and our families. Having a strong financial foundation fueled by a healthy relationship with money and world-class systems and strategies are a major key to creating, sustaining, growing, and scaling your business. Is this making sense so far? All right, I got a top 5 here. It's Brittany, Becca, Patrick, Jessica, Amy, and Jamie Kerr. Amy Weathers. All right, so I'm counting on you guys for the head nod so I don't get stuck on one point for 3 days. All right, awesome. Let's keep this rolling here. All right, and so this is where we'll talk through some things where, while marketing, sales, offers, reoccurring revenue models, etc., they're all important. Trust me, we invest a lot of time and energy in these things, right? But they only work as good as your financial systems and relationships are, right? And so imagine this. How are you supposed to implement a proper marketing plan when you're nervous to put money out that may not immediately come back or have limited funds in the first place, right? So like, people will go out there and talk about marketing, go out and market more and more. Well, it's like, if you don't have a good quality relationship with money, understand return on investment, understand being patient, understand not having to get immediate gratification for your investments to count it as a quality one, how in the world are you supposed to build a marketing plan that pumps traffic to you for you to consistently convert into income? Right. And so think about it this way. Marketing is just simply, how do people find out about what you sell? Right. You can go do it on your own, but there's one of you and there's a bazillion of other peoples and systems out there. So you choose which option is more effective. Right. But option B is going to cost you some money, trust and faith, systems, strategies, and understanding of money in many different ways. Right. And then this next one here. Right. This is one thing that we are huge on. Right. Imagine hopping on a sales call when you truthfully do not need the money or the sale. Right? Prospects can feel the desperation or the need. I coach our sales team on this all the time. Never put yourself in a spot where you need a sale, right? Because you won't make them, right? Because prospects can feel that desperation or the need. So yeah, go out and buy a sales training, go out and get better at sales. But if you're bringing some negative energy on there, some desperate energy, like I'm feeling and smelling that shit from a mile away, right? Especially if you're selling to a sophisticated buyer, right? They are going to read you from the minute you start. Right? It creates friction and hinders your sales desperately, right? And so something that we pride ourselves on is we never need a sale, ever, right? Thankfully and humbly, myself individually, I could keep this company alive and we didn't make a single dollar for about 24 months and still have my family be comfortable, right? So we don't need a sale, right? We're in a position where society needs our product more than we need a sale, right? And this right here is a major key to increasing sales. Right. When you hop, I mean, if you ever taken a call with one of our sales reps, our sales team, Stephanie in particular, right? You're just having a conversation with a quality individual, right? She just wants to get to know you, figure out if and how we can help you, and will never sell you anything that you don't need. And definitely will not bring the wrong person into our community because we think we have $1 billion culture that we need to protect. And it helps us protect that by never having or needing a sale. Does that make sense? Is that coming off correctly? Just to recap here. While marketing, sales offers, recurring revenue models, etc., are important, right? They only go as far as your financial relationship and systems. So imagine this, right? These points that we're going through. Another thing sales related here. Most people massively undercharge for their services because they have a poor relationship with money or some form of lack of worthiness, or they learn from somebody who told them how to price their product that has a poor relationship with money or some form of lack of worthiness, right? It's like, we know it's almost comical. The amount that we charge is great. I think it's a status quo for the industry, but it's almost comical in a way how little we're charging, but it's not from a scarcity standpoint, right? It's from a value standpoint, right? And so another thing here, sales related, is people will take the road of less friction, right? Which is a downsell or cheaper product, which gets their clients less results and them less revenue. Like, one of the main reasons you charge more money for a bigger ticket item is because it gets better results. But if you're desperate for money, if you are in need of money, if you don't have quality relationship and confidence around your money, you're going to take the road of less friction on a sales call, which means downselling them to something cheaper because it's an easier sale and it's faster money in your pocket for the desperation need that you have, right? And then all of a sudden, we only sell one product, right? And that's to each their own. I know there's different strategies out there, right? But really, honestly, downsells, they're signing your client up for B+ results at best, right? And that's known throughout the industry, right? And so you're setting your client up for lesser results while also bringing in lesser money because of that need for money. That makes sense? Okay. All right. Another thing here, fulfillment. Basically, fulfillment is, how do you now provide the services that you sold to people, right? So in a business model or a business pathway, right? You've got the marketing phase, it pushes them to the sales process. And then once you sell something to somebody, now you have to fulfill what you sold, right? And so fulfillment is one of the best ways to make more sales and increase revenue, is by absolutely over delivering on your client experience in an efficient and scalable manner for both parties. People don't realize this. Like, the number one way to make sales and increase revenue is just knock your current client socks off, right? But it's extremely hard to do so when you're a one-man show or have limited resources because you're either scared or not able to invest in more resources like a team, softwares, etc., to help you optimize the fulfillment and delivery of your service, right? Doing one-to-one can only get you so far, and I'm walking proof of that, right? Which we'll talk about here today, right? I was forced to switch, right? And thank God I was forced to do it, right? And also too, as well, thinking that you on your own are going to create a business, especially a coaching one that has the largest impact in this world possible, is silly. There's only one of you. Like, I have a powerhouse of a team. Brittany Browner over the summer was probably doing 6 people's jobs, but none of them were getting done effectively, even her being an absolute beast of an individual. You know what I mean? Like, even the best of the best cannot scale the company to a multi-million-dollar company by themselves with getting best client results in the process, right? You're going to need help. You're going to need to build a team. And most people avoid that because they're scared to put out the money for it, right? Okay. So number 5, right? Reoccurring revenue, lifetime value. You've probably heard these before, right? And so your best paying clients are your current clients, right? Your best paying clients are your current clients. But how do you expect your clients to keep investing in you if you didn't fulfill and deliver the first time around, right? So if you're up here because you're stretched so thin, right, you have no resources, you're scared to invest to build out the team, right? And then you shit the bed on the delivery of the first product. How are you supposed to monetize your best paying clients, right, which are your current ones, by either helping them renew the current product or inviting them up into an ascension model into something that's next for them, right? Very hard to do that if you can't deliver the first time around. Again, you're not going to be perfect. There's definitely about 7 clients on here that can tell you how we've effed up their client experience from time to time, and I take full responsibility for that. And so I'm not coming off here like we're perfect, but we were able, after a mistake was made, we found a gap to sit together as a team and invest in the solution and implement it ASAP, right? So 1 or 2 mistakes didn't turn into 7 or 8 mistakes. 1 or 2 bad experiences actually got turned around and made better experiences and didn't turn into 10 bad experiences, right? And so to kind of talk about these 2 things here for us, we did $1.2 million in 2022. $1 million of that was word of mouth, $1 million of that was word of mouth, right? And so that obviously says that we have the investments that we've made in our fulfillment model and our team is paying off. Another 500K, some of that overlapping word of mouth and with the word of mouth and this right here. Another 500K of that was lifetime value of our clients. Our best clients, the people that got great experiences with us, didn't want to leave us or wanted more, right? And so we designed something to give them that, right? And so again, these things don't happen. $1 million of our revenue doesn't happen, right, without these things. And these things don't happen if we don't have our money in order and have a quality relationship and systems and strategies around. Is this making sense to everybody? Right? Are you guys getting value still? You don't got to drop it in the comments. Just give me some head nods. Right? Like again, I'm going to touch on a few more points here soon, and I think you guys will really start to understand where we're going. Right? And so next thing here, number 6, value. Price is what clients pay. Value is what they get. Right? Value should always exceed price. And if so, then the price doesn't matter. But my point being here is the best way to increase value is by constantly being a creative and visionary thinker, and then having the resources to make enhancements, corrections, and additions to your services. Right? But if you're constantly trying to keep your head above water and you're in survival mode and using a whole bunch of your energy and time to go towards unnecessary stress around money, how much time and energy is left over for you to be creative and a visionary leader? Not much. Not much. Value is the name of the game. Right? And it takes a very visionary leader and creative leader to continuously stay relevant, increase value, keep knocking the socks off for people, right? When you sell a big ticket item, you better have value that exceeds it by 10 times the amount, right? But how are you supposed to do that if you're literally just focusing on every single minute of staying alive? You're not creative, right? Does that make sense? All right. Next thing here. How are you supposed to truthfully promise your clients and employees best results when you are one bad month, lawsuit, or illness away from going under because you simply have no financial foundations, positive relationship, or quality systems and strategies for your money? I've got $25,000 in payroll. You best believe I'm operating and managing my money because I have other people's well-beings at stake. Some of our employees, it's the only income their household has. So I'm not over here effing around with my money because I have other people's well-beings in my hands. Right? And so how are you truthfully supposed to promise your clients and employees best results, right, without having these things in order? Right? Imagine trying to hop on a call with a client, right, and having these stresses and anxieties in the back of your mind. Are you getting them best results? Are you fulfilling the promises that you made them? Are you protecting you, your family, and your employees and your business that you worked so hard to create? If you're one bad month away from going out of business, we have a problem. And I mean it in the nicest way possible, right? So simply put, I promise you all this is coming from love. Simply put, how are you supposed to sustain and scale your business, client results, and lifestyle when you don't know how to manage and leverage the beautiful tool that we call money, all while spending a large portion of your creative energy on unnecessary money problems, all while trying to convince yourself money is not that important? Right? Show me how much you think about something and I'll show you the importance of it. Show me how much something either hinders or enhances your life, and I'll show you the importance of it. Right? So stop doing yourself the disservice of trying to convince yourself that money's not that important or you get around to addressing it tomorrow. Right? And so I say this with love. If you think that you're going to scale your business and create your dream life without having your money in order, you're strongly mistaken. You really are. Right? And again, I mean that with love. So these are prompts and philosophies that we have. And I wanted to be able to share with you guys to set the tone, right, for today. Understand, business is already very challenging, very volatile, very competitive. Why make it more challenging for yourself unnecessarily, right? Why not give yourself the best opportunity, not just at business, but at life, right? And it starts with having your money in order and understanding how to utilize it, right? And so financial success isn't just income-based or numerical, right? A lot of it comes down to how you manage your money despite the amount of income. Right. And so I'll give you an example here, right? Like socioeconomic statuses and politics don't talk about this, but there is a difference between upper class and the segment of upper class called world class. They make the same amount of money, but what separates world class from upper class is how they manage their money and the human beings that they are. Right. And so this management, what we call stewardship, just so happens to be a major key to unlocking more consistent and healthy income levels. Right. From a spiritual standpoint, like, No matter what you believe in, I'm a Christian, I'm a man of God, and I truthfully believe that God blesses us with money, and it's like a plant, right? God gives us this plant, and when we give it back to him one day, he expects it to be in better shape than when he initially gave it to us. Same thing with money, right? And so if you can't, simply put, if you can't manage your current situation correctly, if you can't manage 10K a month, what in the world thinks that you can manage 20K a month? Right? And also, how I can't play God here and tell you what he does and how he makes decisions, but it'd be foolish, especially from a sustainable standpoint, for God to bless you with more if you haven't proven that you can handle your current situation correctly. So that's why we're not against making more money, right? But there's a time and a place for it, and more money is not the solution until you understand what stewardship is, right? All more money is going to do is just going to accentuate your poor money habits, right? And then you're going to blame the money and not yourself. Money's a piece of paper or a piece of plastic, right? Where money goes wrong is when the human being behind it decides to misuse or abuse it, right? And so understanding stewardship is very key, and it comes down to your relationship with money and your systems and strategies you have in place and execute on. So at JFF, we teach finances in two buckets. We teach it, the one, the nervous system, we call it, like your relationship with money. Because you guys have probably heard this quote before, that 80% of our money is, our personal finance is just behavior based. And those behaviors that we have with money, good or bad, are just conscious actions that are reactions of our traumas and wounds that we have in life. You know, like when I spend money unnecessarily, it's just me chasing my ego in a way, right? Which is just a result of my traumas and wounds, right? And so that's why we really harp on that. And then we have the best systems and strategies in the world that will help you implement and execute on, but it really doesn't work to the best of your ability if you don't have that internal relationship with money correct, right? And so I wanted to kind of make that, you know, known, because we're marketing something where it's saying, okay, let's do 20K a month. But 20K a month doesn't mean shit if you're spending 20K a month, or if you're spending 25K a month. Right? You just got bigger problems now. But again, that's not the money's problem, right? You shouldn't use that as an excuse to not go out and make more money, right? If anything, you should chase that, but in the process, work on yourself and the habits and relationship and systems you have with money. So when you do welcome more, it's managed and steward correctly, right? And so why did we use the number 20K a month, right? We've heard a lot of times from coaches and consultants that 20K a month would be a dream, right? And this number creates a sense of promise and stability in coaches and consultants' eyes, right? And so really what we're trying to do and what we want to help you and your business do are words we're trying to help you and your business embody, right? Consistency, stability, predictability, scalable, confidence, healthy growth, profitable, worthy, unshakable, free, right? Drop the word me in the comments if you would love for your business to embody every single one of these words. Right? I love that. I love that. And so that's why we use the word 20K a month, because it does embody these, whether people consciously or subconsciously realize it. In their mind, they think that 20K a month will provide these things. While it will, but the caveat and nuance is if you manage it correctly, right? Like we got to get you guys out of the game of like, I made 7K this month, I'm going to make 2K next month, and I have no idea how I'm making money after that. And if we don't make money, I have no idea how I'm going to cover the difference. And I am so stressed out about it, I can't even think creatively to now go out and think about how to overcome this gap and keep scaling and getting our client best results. And oh yeah, just because I need money, now I'm going to start down selling products on sales calls. And I'm going to come up with some new wonky ass offer because the one that I'm currently working on isn't working yet. But if you're patient enough and didn't open up the oven before the bun cooked, it would. Right. But now you're chasing 7 rabbits. When you chase 7 rabbits, you catch 0. Right. And so we want to create that consistency for you, that stability for you, that predictability for you. Right. But not only attracting this 20K a month, right, but sustaining it and doing the best you possibly can do with it. All right. So creating financial stability in your business is not just about your business, right? We want financial stability in your life holistically, right? It is very rare that someone is a poor manager of their personal money and a great manager of their business money. It is all correlated, which you're going to see here in a second, right? And so we are going to use JFF in my personal life as a case study to show, teach, and help integrate these principles and plans into your business and into your life. So who would learn how to create a dream life in a multi-million-dollar business where you work less, make as much as you've ever made, and have the largest impact you've ever had in a matter of 2 years? Drop the word me in the comments, right? And I promise you, you guys are a lot closer than you think. Awesome. Awesome. I love to see the non-clients like Andrew and who do we have? So we have Brianna Vales. Thank you guys for participating. Hannah, love you guys. Awesome. Let's move into it. And so I asked for that safe space. What I'm going to go over right now is going to seem like a highlight reel. And so a disclaimer, we've made a shit ton of mistakes, personally and business-wise, more than everybody on this call combined. Right? Today is just not the valve where we're highlighting those. Trust me, I do it plenty of times with our clients. I think half of our products or half of the experience inside of our products are just me teaching off the mistakes that I've made and like, hey, don't do this, right? And you'll get your money's back and your investment right there, right? And so I don't want to create an unrealistic expectation here, but I also want to show you what is possible and how we created those possibilities into realities and how you can too, right? And so if you come down here, case study, JFF, right? How we scaled to $1.2 million in revenue with a 76% profit margin and only our second full year of business. All right, so here's the numbers breakdown. So we actually were in business in 2022 or 2020, excuse me, but we started in August. So we were only in business for about a half a year. We did about 55K our first year, which I am very grateful. And so you annualize that number, which just means double it because this was about half the year. So if we just doubled the number, it would basically say if we were in business for the full year, we would have made about $110,000. Just this number times 2, since this was about half a year. Does that make sense? Where the annualized number came from? Awesome. Right. And then in 2021, we jumped up to about $221,000, about 100K, 110K in growth. Right. And only our first full year in business. Then in 2022, we jumped up to about $1.2 million. Right. So in our second full year in business, did about 1.2 million, which was $1 million in growth from the year before. All healthy, consistent, sustainable, beautiful growth too. Right. And for 2023, we're projected to do right over $2.6 million, just about $1.5 million in growth. Right. And I hope that comes off the right way. And I promise you, these things happen and continue to happen strongly because what we're teaching here today. Right. This wasn't an anomaly. This isn't something that's only available to us. Right, this is very possible for all of you on here and probably even faster because we didn't have a JFF in the process. I was flying this plane or building this plane as I was flying it, tripping over my feet left and right. Right, but we figured it out and we want to relay the message to you. Right, and so what I'm going to do for each year, for just 2020, 2021, and 2022, I'm going to basically talk about the skills and strategies and systems we used each year, and also the milestones I hit personally and business-wise. All right, so who's excited to see this today? Right, drop the word me in the comments. We're going to keep flowing here. That's what you guys came for. I appreciate the safe space. All right, so year 2020, we did 55K, right? And so skills, strategies, and systems used. I thoroughly believe, I'm so convinced that the big reason why we were literally able to start a business and within like the first month, you'll see here, do $6,000, $7,000, right? First year, do 55K was because of stewardship that we had been practicing for years. By the time JFF came around, I had been budgeting, planning, and investing, and my wife and I, Lauren, had been meeting as a couple for about 5 years up to this point. Right? All we did was just dig the trenches for the storm that God was ready to pour on us in a beautiful way. Right? So because of our practices, because of our stewardship, I strongly believe that that's why we came out the gate a very successful business because we proved we are worthy and deserving of it. Right? And part of stewardship ain't being perfect. Right? Actually, the definition of stewardship has imperfections baked into it, right? But the difference is, what do you do with those imperfections, right? One of the massive differences between wealthy people and non-wealthy people isn't a lack of flaws or mistakes. It's what they do with those flaws and mistakes, right? Do those flaws and mistakes turn into a month of regression, or do they turn into stepping stones for the next level that you're trying to get to in life? It's all how you view them and act on them, right? We also had 18 months of reserves, right? We had 6 months in an emergency fund and a basic checking account and another 12 months of reserves invested. Right, so right there, that confidence right there, that shit's unshakable. We don't got to make $1 for the next 18 months. Imagine how much creativity and energy that I have to go towards the business. There's no immediate money needed, right? I was able to study the most visionary CEOs out there and act in a very poor man's manner, right? It's because I had no immediate stresses. I didn't need any money, right? Because of this right here. We also had $0 in interest-bearing or bad credit card debt. If you have interest-bearing or bad credit card debt, completely fine, right? It's no shame to your game. If anything, it's almost as normal as the wind blowing because the lack of information that you were taught on how to properly utilize them and how confusing the industry makes it so you do get caught in a trap, right? So no shame to your game. But what happened with us is that it didn't create this bad, in I guess, sense or relationship with credit cards. And then also we had 75K there in limits available that were being used correctly and helping us build our credit, which helped when we needed to start building credit in the business's name, which you'll hear here in a little bit. Right? We owned a home instead of rented, which this just gave us another layer of security. Right? For one, like no one was going to kick us out. Like people's fears, like when they're renting, like what happens when my lease is up? What if, my landlord raises the price? All those types of things, which is then sucking your energy and creativity when you're trying to focus on scaling a multi-million-dollar business to change this world and set you and your family up for your dream life, right? Also, while it gives you a lot of opportunities to access the equity, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, to help you invest in the business and scale from there, right? We also refinanced our house. And who refinanced when COVID hit? Interest rates were like nothing, right? And so we refinanced our house. Our interest rate dropped 1.5%. Right, and the monthly payment went down about $400 to $500, which was just more money in our profits each month, either go towards our reserves, investments, or into the business. Right, and in the process, we took out 20K of equity, right, to serve as a little bit more of a buffer, right, and a possible emergency fund for the business as we start to hire and scale. Right, we have an emergency fund for our home and for our business. Right, emergency fund is just simply money set aside in a very accessible fund, whether it's checking or savings. Not invested because we're willing to lose a little bit of money on what could possibly be made on those investments, just to have that accessible and safe layer of security for you and your family and your business, right? And so at the time when we did this, we didn't have any expenses yet because I was a one-man show, but I knew where I was going. And I took that money out to then act as that buffer to also help with those investments in new positions, softwares, courses, etc. Right? This is one thing that's huge right here. This is one of our biggest skill sets. Right, and some other people don't teach it this way, and to each their own. But not all debt is bad. If somebody tells you that, I mean this in the nicest way possible, like politely run, right? Because there's a large difference between good debt and bad debt, right? And so good debt is just simply how do you leverage somebody else's money at no interest or low interest to invest in endeavors that are going to help you increase your wealth, your assets, and your value. Right? Bad debt is going and spending money on something that you don't need with no plan on how to pay it off. Like if you took a credit card in the mall right now and went and balled out at the Louis Vuitton store, and for one, needed that money for something else, and then also have no idea how you're going to pay off that debt, that's bad debt right there. You didn't need that. That was a stupid endeavor. Right? And trust me, I've been. Right? And how to leverage what we call OPM, other people's money. It's my favorite type of money. Right? Like my wife and I, we talk about, I don't care how much money we make, we will never buy a house in cash. We will always use the bank's money for 5%, right? Because a 30-year mortgage, right, at 5%, what are you saving yourself by buying that house in cash? 5%, right? You could take that money and put it in the stock market over 30 years and absolutely murder that 5%, right? That makes sense, right? So understanding good debt versus bad debt or how to leverage OPM, right? You'll see here in a second, we invested about $220,000 in our own coaching in 2022. And the majority of it was funded from other people's money, 0% APR credit cards, very low interest loans, the HELOC on my house, right? So we were able to access this millions of dollars of information and mentorship with somebody else's money. Right? It's a beautiful thing, right? And then this thing right here too as well, this word budget, society, I apologize, has ruined this word for you guys, right? But it shouldn't feel like handcuffs are scarce. All budgeting is just a tool to allow you to accomplish your goals in the fastest, cheapest, most stress-free and trustworthy way as possible, right? And so we've been budgeting correctly for years, separate budget for the business and household, separate bank accounts for each as well too, right? I'm running a little bit low on time here, so I'm going to speak a little bit faster. And if you stick around to the end, you will get this document I'm teaching off of, right? So, but what I like to say about budgeting, if you have goals, right? I want an emergency fund. I want to start investing. I want to buy a house. I want to scale a business. Those are all goals, and you need proper tools to accomplish those goals in the fastest, cheapest, most stress-free and trustworthy way as possible. The number one tool to helping you do that is a budget, right? It gives you that objectivity on how to strategize on those things, right? So imagine you're out back, right? And you're competing against somebody with a goal of digging a 6-foot hole. They're over there using the shovel, which is the proper tool, and you're over here using your hands. Who's going to get there a lot faster, a lot less stress and anxiety in the process? Probably the person using the proper tool. You may still get there with your hands, but it's going to cost you a whole bunch of unnecessary stress and anxiety in the process, massive amounts of missed opportunities, and way too much money and energy spent. Make sense? Awesome. Milestones hit, personal and business. Mind you, this is still 2020, first year, half year that we're in business. You know, I was able to propose to my wife with her dream ring and planned and funded our dream wedding on our own, close to 100K, right, price tag. And we, as 27 and 26-year-old, were able to do that on our own. And we're very proud of that. And then in the process, I prided myself on this quote where it says, I don't have subjective stress, I have objective plans. Right. So the majority of your stresses and anxieties that you have around money are subjective, right? It means that they're false, they're gray, they're based on your emotions, not factual, rational information. And so when she told me she wanted this ring in this wedding, I'm like, my immediate scarcity brain went towards like, well, we're gonna have to stop investing each month. We're gonna set that money aside for the wedding, and we're not gonna be able to go out to eat. And all that was false. When I put a plan together and our clients get access to this big project plan, whether it's renovations or a wedding. And yes, it was 100K price tag, but that 100K wasn't due in all 1 month, right? 2K was due in January for the photographer. 2K was due in February for the floral. The last deposit was due in May before the wedding, right? And so we were able to see exactly what line item needed to be purchased, what was the price, and what month was it going to be due in, and then go budget accordingly. We're like, okay, this month, just with our profits, we can cover this. This month, 6 months down the road, when this big deposit's due, we're going to creatively finance it with this strategy, right? And so in that entire process, I'm very proud to say we still lived our life, went on a vacation every single month, and invested a heavy amount every single month in the stock market, despite this hefty price tag, because I don't have subjective stress, I have objective plans, right? And so my wife and I, we took a week-long vacation every single month, August through December, right, of that first year, right, even into 2021. We hit what we call our dream money category. So it's the leveling system that we put our clients on. It's the last one right before financial freedom. And dream money simply put is how do we help you allocate your money to go toward your dreams today instead of a down the road, possibly never type of thing. And so fake numbers here, but we had $3,000 left over each month, but real dreams. And our real dreams were to save for our dream house, take a vacation every single month, and then donate money to people in need. Right. And we were able to do that every single month with the money left over, and while still accomplishing our goals in parallel. All right. This is a big thing. I don't think a lot of people know, at least the newer people like, Noel, Andrew, people that aren't clients and experience us for the first time. I actually had a 6-figure day job that from, basically when I got out of grad school up until December 2020, when I decided to leave. But this 6-month phase we're talking about here, I had a 6-figure day job and a very promising career with Johns Hopkins, and I left that with ease, right? Because for one, I was making more money, double the money in a month, right, than I was making at Hopkins, and I prided myself that I don't have scarcity what ifs. I have abundant, calculated, and managed risk. And so when I left Hopkins, I said, what am I actually risking? No one's ever going to take my MBA away from me. Give me 1 second here, talking way too much. No one's ever going to take my MBA away from me. In the 5 years of Johns Hopkins experience I have, I can always go back and make the same exact amount of money that I'm leaving right now, right? I'm never going to have this opportunity again to scale the business and continue to live my dream, right? So I don't have scarcity what ifs. I have abundant and calculated and managed risks, right? All right, milestones, right? In 2020, those first 5 months we were in business, we had 5-figure months, 4 out of the first 5 months, which was awesome, right? We came out the gate, 6,500, almost 11, 10, 12, almost 17. First 5 months in business, which was an amazing milestone that I truthfully believe that we welcomed, like I said, because of our proper stewardship. We were trusted by the higher power that we believed in to manage this money for. Perfectly no. I could do a whole masterclass on my dumbass mistakes I've made with money, even while having this company and being the financial guru that you guys all label me as. Like, I made plenty of mistakes too. So I want to keep throwing that disclaimer in. Though this looks like a highlight reel, we'll talk about mistakes at a different day. All right. I raised my price 4 months in a row, September through December, and the conversion rate stayed just about the same. Right. We acquired about 60 new clients, and all were word of mouth referrals. And taxes were perfectly accounted for and managed. Right. So that was, again, to remind you here, I'm breaking down each year, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Right. And as I break them down, I'm showing you skills, strategies, and systems used, milestones we hit personally and business wise. That was 2020. I have 30 minutes here, so I have to talk fast. Or 13, excuse me. All right. So 2021, right? This is where things got real awesome. All right. So budgeting continued. We started to really operate off of another document, our second financial scan called a balance sheet. A balance sheet is just your assets versus your liability. Simply put, what are you worth versus what do you owe? And how do we use that information and the budget to create you detailed step-by-step action plans on how you're going to achieve your goals in the most efficient and effective manner possible, right? We opened up a HELOC in our house, was just a home equity line of credit. We had about 100K of equity in our home. So we opened up a line of credit in that where we could pull from it at any time for only 3%. Comical, right? Literally comical. We could, pennies on the dollar. Worst case scenario, I was pulling from it and just investing in the stock market and blowing that 3% out of the water, right? But it was able to give me another layer of security, another layer of emergency funds, another layer of something to pull from to invest in the business for myself and personal growth. Because one thing me and my wife did in the background a lot was we were investing in ourselves an absolute ton, right? Because we realized what God was blessing us with and what human beings we were going to have to become to continue to steward that as best as we possibly could. Right? We love 0% APR credit cards used the right way, right? Which we could talk about at a different time. We upped our monthly investments in the stock market month after month, right? We used our emergency funds, strategies, and creative financing solutions to restructure the business model, which we'll talk about here in a second. We started understanding leverage deeper, right? What I mean by this leverage is, simply put, what you put in versus what you get out. Right? If you put very little in and get a max result, that means that's very high leverage. People misuse the concept of leverage all the time in online space. Right? So I'll give you a very simple example. Excuse me. If I put one 30-second video out on Instagram and it gets 1 million views, that was very little input for mass results, which means very high leverage. Right? So we started to understand that at a deeper level in many different ways. You know, we switched to an S corp. Which basically went from an LLC to an S corp, which made us much more tax efficient, right? And if you're listening to this too as well, like an accountant, a financial advisor, and a financial coach, which is us, it's not an or thing, it's an and thing. You need an accountant and a financial advisor and a financial coach, right? It just so happens that we're the financial coaches, and if you need advisors and accountants, we have those in-house and contracted for you too as well. So you can have that all-star team in your corner. Right? We honed in on exponential thinking and doing instead of linear thinking and doing. Simply put, linear thinking is just, I trade my time for money, right? Like more money, more time I trade, more money I make, right? And so I was just taking one-on-ones for the first 6 months. That is such linear thinking. That is not scalable for either parties, right? Because what happens is I got, thankfully, very busy and popular to the point where like I was working like 10 hours a day just to fulfill one-on-ones for clients. Nobody was getting best results from that. So I started thinking, I may not have to just trade my money, time for money. How about I hire a team, implement software systems and processes where I can work less, make more, and have a larger impact? Right? So I started thinking like that, right? And then internal work. This is so super important. So for all my woo-woo people out there, I will rightfully admit I was so black and white, so strategic, so like just suck it up, buttercup when I first started this company. But I have realized over time that your external wealth is just simply a reflection of your internal wealth. Or your external wealth is just simply a reflection of your internal world, right? Your external wealth will never exceed your internal wealth, right? And so we really started doing work internally, right, to start unlock levels of more money for us, right? Because we got to a point, I know I've told this story several times to our clients, but we got to a point about 1.5 years ago where we could not break through 40K a month. And I'm like, what the F is going on? We have the best systems in the world. We've got a world-class team, right? You know, we got our finances down pat. And really what it was is God put me in this paradoxical corner where he gave me everything that the world labeled me to be successful as. And I still was empty. I still was depressed. I still was stressed. I still was limited. I still was not doing what I thought I could be doing in this world. And it gave me no choice but to look within. Right? And so that understanding that internal work through this process is so super important. And then lastly here, I understand the difference between upper class and world class, like I said earlier. They make the same amount of money. The difference is the human beings that they are and what they do with that money. All right, keep flying here. Milestones we hit in 2021, right? Personal, we continued our monthly vacations and dream money status. We put 60K into our old home, which led to about an 85, 90K value increase. So it was about a 30K profit for us. We got married in May 2021. And I was able to take, that's not how you spell two. Let me add a W in there. All right. I was able to take 2 months off from work to be present, right? Which was something I am so thankful I did, right? Wife and I didn't argue about money much, if at all, right? We still don't, right? Maybe I get a little attitude every once in a while, but it's not like a legitimate argument. But anyway, it's a topic for a different day. right? And we were able to help a lot of people in need, a lot of our family and friends. Thankfully, God uses us as that valve to help them financially. Right. And then we also, our biggest accomplishment here, we bought a Bernedoodle, which is like a boutique dog. He's expensive as heck, but we were able to do it comfortably. I know it sounds funny being on here, but that man has made our life so much better, so much better. And, the price tag on him would have scared me if I didn't have these systems and processes in place. All right. So then business wise, we invested 25K back into the business to revamp the business model to make a more scalable setup where I could work less, make more, and have a much larger impact. We started to establish credit in the business's name, and you cannot do that unless your personal credit is good, right? Because at first, when you're starting a business, the business has no credit history and it probably has very limited income. So Justin Bolanimo, the individual, had a sign on behalf of JFF, though to me it's the same person. To the government and to the bank, it's two separate entities. So if my personal credit was shot, I would not have been able to access business credit, which is a whole different ballgame than personal when it comes to opportunity. We have 2 credit cards that have no limits, right? And so we're able to imagine the leverage that we have with the business, right? We're able to throw very pricey live events. We're able to invest in the big time programs. We're able to shut down and revamp business models when we need to, right? We went from 1 to 1 to 1 to many, right? We hired 5 full-time employees, shot, produced, and released a 14-module evergreen course, right? I replaced myself on the marketing, sales, and fulfillment side of things, right? So though I've been told I can sell paper to a tree, when I'm taking those sales calls, I am doing nothing else, right? I'm not able to operate in my zone of genius, right? Which is to think at a strategic level how to continue to scale our client experience and our company in totality, right? We had our first 25K month, first 30K month, and first 35K month. Right? We confidently stopped taking clients February through April, so we actually could revamp the business model. I was only taking one-on-one clients at a time, and that was not the answer anymore, right? And so I was able to just literally stop sales for February through April, right? So we stopped bringing on all of the business model clients, and I could actually focus with the team to revamp this business model into what we have now, right? And profit margins stayed at about 50% plus for the entire year, right? Despite stop taking clients, despite reinvesting back into the business. Right? All these things right here, most people don't ever do because they're so scared of money, right? And they don't understand how to leverage money, or they don't have the objectivity and strategies and systems to tell them that this is the best decision. Yeah, this 25K investment was scary, but I had the strategies and systems to show me it was going to make me millions of dollars, right? And then also the understanding of how to leverage other people's money to make this happen too as well, right? We had 50 plus active clients. We hired 2 business coaches and mentors and successfully launched our membership, which is what a lot of people, if you're a member, drop the word member in the comments, right? So we successfully launched that August 2021 and have a couple hundred clients around the world in that beautiful membership, right? All right, I'm blowing through this. So you guys are going to get this document. I got 5 minutes. All right, so I promise I'm trying to respect your time. All right, so year 2022, we did 1.2 million. It was $1 million jump. Right, I'm skipping straight to milestones because quote unquote being advanced just means you never not do the foundational things and you do them better than anyone else. Right. So I don't need to talk about systems and strategies. I've been using the same shit for years now. Right. There's no magic pill. There's no, elaborate strategy that we keep building each year. We just got very good at the foundational things and solidify it. Right. Because if you want to build a castle, aka your dream life and business, you must lay it on a solid foundation, especially if you have other people's well-being is at stake. Right. So personal, we hit financial freedom in January 2022. My wife at age 29 and 28, we technically retired because we have an asset in JFF that spins enough money each month without us having to show up, right? And covers the business expenses, our personal expenses, and our lifestyles and luxuries. Right. Wifey bought a dream car. She was able to go get a Range Rover the right way. Right. Luxury cars, do whatever you want, but I truthfully believe in don't buy luxuries until you have an asset that pays for it automatically. Right? Like we have an asset in JFF that pays for our lifestyle necessities and luxuries automatically. Right? We didn't have luxuries to this degree when we were at a fixed income. To each their own. Do what you got to do. Just do it the right way and understand what you're trading off for. Right? So we sold our first home, made about 100K profit, bought our dream house, right, that I'm sitting in right now this past summer that needed some TLC. We became millionaires by me age 30, her age 29. We're renovating our dream home right now. My father-in-law is a contractor, so we did our old house. And he's doing this one right now, which has been a special experience. I bought my dream home a couple of months ago, which was awesome. We helped my dad with a move. Whether he still deserves that help or not is a whole different topic, but we were able to spend thousands of dollars and a lot of time and energy to help him with a move that was really unexpected, that he couldn't afford on his own. And literally, no exaggeration, was either going to be living at my sister's house or homeless if we weren't able to step up and help, which we were very happy to do. This sounds bougie right here, but I actually saved this money. I'm a big time golfer, and I spend like $500 a month on golf anyways. So a local country club was offering an amazing deal, which actually saved me money. And since we're able to write it off as a business expense and we are confident in the things that we do, we were able to join a country club, and it's been an awesome experience. And we were able to start also giving back a ton of time and resources to our church. We hosted our first Christmas, this past year, which was amazing to have the family from New York come in and everyone here. And now that I have a lot extra time, I was able to start coaching high school lacrosse again and giving back to the sport I love. Because a lot of people can't do these extracurriculars, they don't have the time for it, or they're not paying them enough. But I'm there simply just to give back, and it's beautiful to do. All right. Business. Had our first 6-figure month, hosted our first live event in October 2020 where lives were changed, and $300K of revenue was generated in one weekend. Right. It was $60K and a lot of risk up front, but we were able to do it because of the things that we were teaching here today. Right. We crossed $1 million for the year in revenue in November 2022. Right. We made 6 new hires. Right. We have Becca Kent, who's on here, as our financial coach, our accountability coach, Sarah Stewart, our client success coach, Jessica Hall, admin coordinator, Carolyn, our setter copywriter and social media manager, Michelle, and our chief marketing officer, Morgan, who had a lot to do with putting this together here today. Right. This now makes a team of 10 of us who are amazing. We have a bazillion-dollar team, right? And it's forever going to aid our scaling and our success that we have. We acquired an amazing attorney to legitimize and protect everything. We revamped and optimized our ideal client marketing strategy and offers to create real long-term success. We exposed a marketing problem that most people wouldn't have been able to expose because they couldn't afford to shut things down. Right? We were able to shut things down for like 2 to 3 months, right? Confidently, to be able to rebuild our marketing strategy. Hence, you guys are sitting on it here today, right? It's just one fashion of it, to talk to better people, talk to more ideal clients, have a larger impact, right? Because of the safety and security that we had with our financial systems and resources, right? We threw a masterclass in December where we had 150 people register and almost 70 show up. In year 2022, we made 137 sales. Right? We handed out 20K in bonuses to my team, invested 200K plus in our own mentorship and growth, right? And establish a world-class culture, community, team, client experience, and company that is unrivaled and change the lives of everyone involved, clients and staff. I truly believe that we do not have competition if you are good at what you do, right? We're just out here for the same mission. But for somebody that is in an industry that has competition, think about what this means to our competition. Like, how in the hell is anybody ever supposed to catch us? Our marketing budget is more than their revenue each year. Like, the resources that we have is just incredible. Right. And so we were able to establish this unshakableness, right? It's because of the systems and strategies that we have with money. Right? I know I'm out of time here, so stick with me for literally 5 more minutes. Please, please, please. I promise you I try to respect your time and get you this document if you stay here. Right. So how did we do this in 2.5 years? We established, maintained, and grew a healthy relationship with money, personally and professionally, all while creating, implementing, and following the best systems and strategies in the world. You are holding yourself back from a lot more than 20K months by not doing the same. That makes sense to everybody? Awesome. All right. I know we're out of time here. Julia, Mangus, I appreciate you hanging out. Sean Odo, Noel, a lot of the new faces here for the first time, right? And so something that, we pride ourselves on is coming into these hoping that you ladies and people walk away with your life changed, right? But if today wasn't enough and you want to make this your everyday life moving forward, you have the opportunity to do that. And all it does is just takes a simple conversation with one of our team members. Stephanie Hall, who's on here today, she's kind of like our gatekeeper, right? And so if God's plan for us to continue to impact your life is a partnership, I would be honored to have the opportunity to explore that, right? It simply just takes a conversation with Steph. Nobody is selling you anything that you don't need. I promise you that. Like we said at the beginning, we do not need a sale. We're not going to shove one down your throat if it's not a good fit. And then also too, as well, we will never bring the wrong person into our community, right? But if you're interested in understanding and exploring how we can help you, right? Stephanie's here. She's going to drop her link. Steph, say hi so people can see that beautiful smile. It's one of the best people in the world right here.
Hey, friends. I'm really excited to connect with those of you that like to make informed decisions. because those are the best decisions. So I invite you to chat with me. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Steph will drop her link. Go ahead and book. You're just gonna. She lives in Hawaii. She's the coolest person in the world. Like, she's so super friendly. Just have a conversation with the woman and see where it goes. All right. And so, anyways, aside from that, I hope today fulfilled. I hope today impacted. I'm sweating over here. I was super nervous. I barely slept last night because I take this stuff so seriously. Like, I just want to impact your life. And I thank you for the safe space to use my own situation in business as an example and not feel like it's coming off of arrogant, just anything to be able to show you the possibilities and how we created that as a reality. And you guys have the same opportunity too as well. And in those 2 years, guess what? We didn't have JFF on our team, right? So you guys were actually a lot closer than we were when we started this process, right? So we love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you for the extra 3 minutes, and we'll talk soon.